It's hard to top the Tiny Toons. What's more adorable than kid versions of your favorite animated animals? You've got Buster and Babs from Bugs Bunny fame, Plucky the Duck as a young Daffy, or maybe Daffy is short for Daffert, Hampton J. Pig as a young Porky, Elmira Duff is a young Elmer Fudd, but instead of hunting animals, she just loves them to death. Dizzy Devil is obviously young Taz, and Furball is Kitten Sylvester. And don't forget Montana Max, who is a young brat version of Yosemite Sam. Konami grabbed up the license of cute cartoon creatures and made 3 games on the NES. Tiny Toon Adventures, Tiny Toon Adventures 2, Trouble in Wackyland, and Tiny Toon Adventures Cartoon Workshop. In Cartoon Workshop, you can pose the characters, color them, or place them in different scenes, and, well, I'll save that one for a video about games like that in the future. You can skip it if you want, I'm still going to make it. My daughter will love it. Anyway, let's see what's up with Tiny Toon Adventures 1 and 2 on the NES. As the story goes, the residents of Acme Acres are in a tizzy since Montana Max, aka Monty, kidnapped Babs Bunny. It all started at the local animation film festival where Monty usually bribes the judges to pick his film, but this year Buster won Best Student Film. Monty was at a boil over this and chose to get even by kidnapping Babs while she was on her way back to Buster's to congratulate him. Overreact much? To get Babs back, Buster recruited his pals Plucky Duck, Dizzy Devil, and Furball to help him. There are 6 total stages, each with a different theme you must traverse through as Buster and a sidekick of your choice. The stages aren't as easy as you'd think, given that it says Tiny Toons right there in the title. In fact, you'll notice that with both of these games. Each stage has 2 parts before a boss battle, and you might encounter a mini-boss, usually Elmira. It's not always clear what to do with the bosses, though. It took me a while to find out that the only way to defeat Elmira is just staying away from her until the door appears, even though every fiber in my video game brain thought I was supposed to just jump on her head 3 times to defeat her. But then the very next boss you face after Elmira appears in a very similar fashion, and guess what? Yeah, you jump on his head. It's not that it's hard to figure out, but a heads up maybe, you know? Your sidekicks have their own unique abilities. Buster can jump and slide, while Plucky can glide through the air a little, and swim the best. Dizzy can spin or unleash a gust of wind, and Furball can climb up walls and jump a little further. There are some items you can get along the way. Carrots or other fruit you find, depending on the level, help you rack up lives. For every 30 that you get, you can trade them into Hampton, who you'll randomly come across, for a life. You'll also come across little blue balloons you can pop, or you'll get a heart that lets you take an extra hit, or it could be an extra life if you already have a heart, or you'll get a ball that you can pop that will switch your characters. So you can't switch between Buster and your chosen sidekick whenever you want, just when you get the ball. This could be a little inconvenient, especially if you want to switch to the other character sooner, or accidentally switch to one you didn't really want to. But in general, it's only a minor critique. The game's presentation is fairly spot on. The stages are all unique and colorful. There's deserts with quicksand, forests with birds and big branches, the deep sea with slow meandering fishies, a ship full of up-to-no-good pirates, treacherous caves full of dark descents and brown water, the bustling city streets riddled with trash cans, and finally whatever you'd call this place before you storm the mansion looking for that felonious Monty. The characters look great, the music is on point, and the levels are cleverly designed to make each sidekick you choose to play as a slightly different experience. Some levels are made easier by who you pick, so there's some experimenting to be done. While the game is tougher than you might think, it does have infinite continues that start you at the beginning of the stage you died on. Expect to die too. Some of it is just not knowing how to defeat a boss, and enemies often appear out of nowhere, or trash cans. Fun fact, if you finish a level with the number of carrots that is a multiple of 11, you get to face the secret boss. Darth Vader. As the story goes, we're back in Acme Acres and the huge amusement park of Wackyland just opened. Buster receives a letter in the mail inviting him to the park's opening ceremonies and telling him to bring along all of his friends. The letter is signed off as a secret admirer, so there's a mystery afoot. Turns out it's Montana Max at it again. He's filled the park with traps and is luring Tiny Toons in for their demise. You start out at the park with 10 normal tickets. Your goal is to have enough tickets to enter the quote-unquote fun house, where you'll track down Monty, but you'll need to earn either 50 normal tickets or 4 golden tickets. You can earn a gold ticket by completing each different park attraction that you can play in any order. The first is the train ride, where you'll take control of Hampton J. Pig in an auto-scrolling level that takes about 2 minutes to get through. You can use Hampton's belly bash to bump enemies off the train. The stage is a little slow, but once you learn it, it's not bad. The second is a log plume, where you'll take control of Furball and try to stay on the log despite pesky leaping fish, big jumps, and other obstacles. The third is a roller coaster ride where you'll take control of Babs. This one probably requires the most patience and repetition to master. You'll have to rotate Babs on the platform depending on what comes next, and what comes next comes fast, so it's a memorization level not unlike Hampton's level, but definitely faster. And finally, there's Plucky's Bumper Cars level. This one may be the most frustrating. The goal is to ram 2 Roderick rats in their own bumper cars down a hole, but watch out, you'll bounce all around off the pinball-styled bumpers, and aiming your hits on the other cars leaves a little to be desired. It's exceptionally tedious, and if you don't end up down the hole yourself, you stand a good chance of just running out of time. You have to complete 4 levels just like this, and the added element of needing to hurry to do it on top of the already frustrating blocky movements of the bumper car will leave you frustrated. I would have rather had Plucky in some type of flying stage instead of bumper cars, but oh well. So if you complete all 4 of those attractions, you'll have all 4 golden tickets that will get you into the funhouse. But if one in particular is too tough, you can just earn 50 normal tickets instead. How do you do this? Well, the way I would do it is to pick the one attraction you think is easiest to complete. For me, I would choose Hampton's train ride, even if it is a little slow. You earn points by dispatching enemies and collecting the treats. Each treat is 1,000 points, and the enemies typically vary between 100 and 300. You also get point bonuses for completing the level. Then you can take all of your points and cash them in for tickets. Every 3,000 points equals 1 ticket. And on a good run, you can probably earn around 10 tickets in one level. Just note that it costs tickets to enter each ride, so you'll want to pick the one level you're good at, so you don't end up wasting them all on failed attempts. Or, you can tough it out and earn those 4 golden tickets. It's up to you. Once you earn your way into the funhouse, you don't lose it, so if you die in the funhouse, you don't have to re-earn all those tickets, thank goodness. In the funhouse, you'll finally get to play as Buster, whose special moves are a spin jump that definitely comes in handy as most of the level is just landing jumps, and the other is a slide. The level is a big labyrinth, complete with pitfalls and a few enemies here and there. It's timed too, so it may take a few tries to find the path that works in the allotted time. Eventually, you'll square off against Montana Max again, where you have to deflect his own bombs back at him. While Trouble in Wackyland is no easier than the first game, it still feels like a just right level of difficulty, with the caveat being you either beat each stage or grind on one to earn your way to the last level. It's nice to have options sometimes. Once again, the characters are animated nicely and the stages contrast well with each other in terms of how they play and the themes they use. The music is once again on point, as you'd expect, especially as you know it's about to get real when you enter the funhouse and hear this music. It's hard not to recommend these games for fans of the NES, fans of Konami platformers of the era, and especially fans of Tiny Toons. They play really well, and while the challenge is more steep than you might expect for the source material, the unlimited continues will give you an opportunity to get it right eventually. These games are just on par with other Konami platformers of the era, so you're going to get a well-made game. So yeah, if you haven't played these, I'd certainly urge you to give them a go. The first one is more palatable as a traditional stage-to-stage platformer, while the second one is more like a minigame compilation that culminates into one big platforming maze. These aren't the only Tiny Toon action platformers of the time. If you want more, there were 2 released on the Game Boy. Bab's Big Break is very akin to the first game on the NES, where you'll once again play as Buster, Plucky, or Hampton in their quest to keep Monty from destroying Bab's dreams of becoming a big star. Then there is Montana's Movie Madness, another platformer where you take control of Buster across 5 stages themed as Montana's different films. Buster Busts Loose, released on the Super Nintendo in 1993, and once again features Buster hopping his way through to rescue Babs from Monty. And finally, there's Buster's Hidden Treasure on the Genesis, where, yep, you guessed it, you're Buster, trying to reclaim your hidden treasure and rescue Babs from that dastardly Montana Max. No matter the system, Konami's Tiny Toon adventure games are all colorful, animated nicely, and play just fine. They make good use of the source material and feature several recognizable and fan-favorite characters. Will we ever see another Tiny Toon Adventures game? Who knows? Well, that does it for Tiny Toon Adventures games on the NES. That's all, folks, and thanks for watching.